I've seen some bad movies before, but nothing I hated as much as the movie Zoom. This came out the year after the Disney film Sky High, and it's clear somebody wanted to take those elements of teen superheroes learning to use their powers and remake it into the most soulless experience of my life. Tim Allen plays a former superhero named Zoom. In his youth, Zoom was part of a team who died when his brother Concussion turned evil. Concussion got banished to some alternate reality, and he's coming back. The government wants Zoom to train a new team of heroes to stop Concussion. In this 90-minute film, it is 50 minutes, 5-0, before Zoom takes training these kids seriously. It's 70 minutes before we even see the bad guy. Everything leading up to that is wacky training scenes. Usually, that would be the first third of the movie, and some actual plot would happen. But there is no story here. The movie wants to be a wacky kids film with fart jokes and a kid with snot powers and hilarious one-liners. But the United States government doses an innocent with a substance called Gamma-13 that turns him evil, and he murders his teammates. There might be a movie that can balance different tones in a story, but this ain't it. Pick a lane. Wacky kids comedy that makes me wish I was buried alive instead of watching this film, or go all the way with the darker stuff the movie flirts with that would have made for an interesting story if they had committed to it. Another problem is Tim Allen. Most of the stuff I've seen him in, he plays a jerk who doesn't have time for friends or family. Galaxy Quest, Jungle to Jungle, the Santa Claus, he's got a type. What the movie tells us and shows us are two very different things. For the first 50 minutes, Zoom doesn't want to train these kids. He's just here for the money. He's rude and condescending to everyone he talks to. You know, Tim Allen. But his brother murdered his teammates after the government used an evil compound on him, and he was forced to exile his brother to an alternate dimension. For most of the movie, Zoom doesn't know his brother is coming back. If he knew, that could provide a reason why he doesn't want to train this team. He knows how dangerous his brother can be and doesn't want to endanger another team. Or if he doesn't know his brother is the threat this team is being groomed to fight, he could still be hesitant to usher these kids into the life that saw his first team die. But the movie treats him like a jerk for not wanting to train them. Use his backstory as the reason for not wanting to do this. When he does find out his brother's coming back, he's hesitant because he doesn't want these kids to die, and he doesn't want to go up against his brother. Speaking of the brother, his turn to the dark side needs to be explored. What if Concussion discovered the government has been behind a lot of the villains his team faced in their attempts to create superhumans using Gamma-13? They know it messes with the minds of the subjects, but they use it anyway, hoping they'll eventually get it right. Concussion tries to dispose of the Gamma-13 and accidentally gets exposed. His mind gets twisted, but it's not his fault. And when he's raging against the government, the rest of the team are told Concussion is a threat and needs to be taken out. Concussion fights back, thinking his teammates are corrupt if they're willing to work with the people he sees as the enemy. Zoom didn't know the extent of his brother's turn to the dark side when he got banished. That's much more tragic than what the movie was willing to do. And even in a good movie, I don't know if they would have been willing to portray the US government as evil in a movie aimed at children. So don't barely go there if you're not willing to fully commit to it. Or it doesn't have to be the government. Maybe it's some private organization with corporate sponsors, and they want superheroes in their pocket, and they don't care how many lives they've ruined by accidentally creating supervillains with Gamma-13, because this fuels the never-ending superhero fights that help them create merchandise. But I don't know if that would work either. How many children are really interested in the evils of corporations and consumerism? The structure should have been the first third of the movie. Zoom is resistant to training a new generation of heroes, for understandable reasons. He's resistant to the kids trying to bond with him because he doesn't want to get attached to a team that could die like his last team. Since Zoom won't train them, Dylan steps up. In the movie, Zoom sees leadership potential in Dylan, but I have no idea what Zoom sees in him that would make him a potential leader. So Dylan will do what comes naturally to him, even though he's just as new to these powers as the rest of the team, but he is making an effort. When Zoom does start training the team, Dylan whispers to him, "She responds better if you do this and that, he works better in these circumstances." It's more of a natural climb into being a leader type and isn't just, "Hey, you're the older guy of the team, that makes you leader." The other members of the team are also very underwritten, so the training scenes would need to give them some kind of personalities. I have no idea what you would do with any of them. Little girl thinks she's a princess, Cat in the Hat Kid likes to eat, Sue Storm is shy and likes Julian Luthor. There's not much that could thematically tie any of this together. If the movie had actually done anything with these characters, maybe I could find something to polish, but as is, I'm looking at some barely formed archetypes and shrugging my shoulders. When Zoom finds out what's at stake, he doubles down on training the team so they're ready for concussion. He investigates and finds out concussion's turn to the dark side isn't as cut and dry as he thought. What we thought the main villain of the movie would be is a fake out. Zoom is able to talk down his brother, still in his dark clouded mind state, and promises they are going to expose the organization that did this. Rip Torn's character finds out Zoom isn't playing along, so he releases some supervillains to cover up this mess. Once the kids are able to dispense with these bad guys, Rip Torn sees one last resort to cover this mess, expose all of them to Gamma-13, and claim Concussion is responsible for turning them to the dark side. But Concussion sees what he's about to do and does a heroic redemption sacrifice to save his brother and the new team from his own fate. It's not perfect, he did murder an entire team, but he was under the influence of a substance he didn't consensually ingest, so his sacrifice is his way of atoning for that. Once Zoom exposes what Rip Torn did, the courts are all up in this place. It's going to take a while to sort out everything that was going on here. It's not a happy ending. Zoom lost his brother, again, but he got a new team and a new family along the way. They have a new mission now. While the Gamma-13 is getting properly disposed of, I'm assuming there are other ways people can get powers, since we see a bunch of kids with powers try out for the team. The team will guide these people who are scared of what they can do. A little X-Men, but it works. This might not have been the best, but I think these changes would have improved the movie. Do you guys agree? Let me know, and in the meantime, I'll see you guys next week with some other video. Until then, have a good one.